You get injured? Is that what you said last time you got hurt? Oh,
Yeah. I blew up my knee in the beginning of the second round.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of All Five Rounds. I'm one of your hosts, Daren Loucks, and my other co-host not here today, but I have somebody else. I have a special guest, and it's pro fighter here in Joey Morency. Joey, how's it going?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Good, good. You're coming fresh off a fight at BTC. Um, give us your thoughts, I guess, on how well you did at during your fight.
Yeah, so I fought November 24th at BTC 4. Unfortunately, I lost via TKO in round two. But what spurred that, unfortunately, was at the very beginning of round two, as I was level changing to shoot for a takedown, my knee gave out and I fell flat on my back. And I tried to stay composed from there and actually went for a leg lock attempt and got it. Couldn't get the finish and didn't have enough strength or mobility to even use it to sweep to get back to top position. So I spent 2.5 minutes of that round just trying to survive or trying to get a single from like a quad pod position or just from a turtle position, and just got fed from there. And then the ref came in and stepped in. I didn't get rocked or anything like that, but definitely took a nice little beating for that last bit.
Yeah. Eh? Oh man, that's devastating, especially for a guy like with your style. Like I really like watching guys like you fight because you're like you have that specialist style to you. When I watch you fight, like I think of guys like Jake Shields and like John Fitch, Ben Askren, guys who are really know what they're good at, and they go for it and they impose their will on opponents. And when I see you fight, like that's what I think of.
Yeah, that's basically it. That's a nicer way to put it than I do. I just say I can't strike, but yeah, no, it's I've got a single mind. I'm always training my striking, mind you, but the approach is generally close the distance, get inside position, take the guy down, punch him in the face or submit him, right, or both.
Right.
So
Yeah, I noticed how well you closed the distance. At the even at the start of both round, like at round one, round two, I felt like it was like just a second, and you were just right in. What's your thought process for that? Like when you're in that close range, are you thinking right away like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk up and we're just gonna get clinched up, or what's the thought process?
well, specifically for my opponent at the time, Kyron Cameron, because he's a taller, rangier guy. I knew that I couldn't hang out on the outside. But the other good thing with him is he tends to crowd himself or even kind of swarm in and close distance too. So I wasn't too worried about him being good on the back foot and running away. I knew that as I stepped in, yeah, there's going to be danger, of course, and you got to go in intelligently with your feints and your shots, your head movement, and whatnot. But um, I knew there was a very high likelihood of him even taking a step forward or not being able to take that step back quick enough. So I think
Okay.
that not, and I'm not saying that to disrespect him. It's just that's just kind of how he fights. It's not his strong suit to be very good off the back foot.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that helped.
interesting.
Yeah.
That helped. So, what are you doing for the knee now?
I've been rehabbing it for I guess 5 or 6 weeks now since the fight. I'm still waiting on an MRI, and the sports doctors and my physical therapist think it could be a torn ACL and or LCL and or the lateral meniscus. But
Oh,
the good news is, out of all that, is that's really just their way of saying they have no fucking idea. The reason and the reason that is because like anyone else in this kind of position in this sport, we all train a lot. I do a lot of strength and conditioning, so I've got a lot of muscle protecting everything around the knee. So that's why they can't tell, because they said my ACL could be fully torn, and they won't really know because I've got a lot of muscle around the lower quad and the hamstring and stuff. So they told me my
Mm-hmm.
could just be doing all the work. That being said, I don't think my ACL is fully torn because rehab's going pretty well and it's very stable. So,
Okay.
well, we'll see. I'm waiting on the MRI. I'm getting pretty excited for that. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. Well,
yeah.
I hope then for the best of that situation. Although it sounds like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that may or may not be going on there. I hope it heals up quick, even regardless. But what's next for you?
Well, the big thing is the MRI because that'll dictate how the year goes. Um, but there's a few other cards coming up. BTC is doing a show in March. Even if my injury's not that bad, that's probably going to be cutting it close.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to have to rehabilitate to some degree. Even if it's a minor injury, I'm probably looking at another 2 months. If it's a more serious injury, I don't see myself fighting till the early summer.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm staying hopeful and kind of hoping to get a fight in maybe in the spring or summer. So anywhere from April until June or something like that. That would be the best case scenario.
Nice. Nice. Right on. Well, now that you have a little more time, I mean, from training all the time and stuff, you get a chance to watch any of the fights on the weekend?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was this really good card.
What did you think of the John Jones Gustafson fight? What did you overall impression?
Jeez, I don't know. It was a really good fight. What round did he get the finish in? The second or third?
Third, I think it was the third.
Yeah. So I thought he looked. It's really hard to say because sometimes you don't know if these guys are playing these games or feeling things out or missing stuff on purpose.
Right.
Um,
The
because he
takedowns,
was
is that what you're thinking of?
yeah, he was missing a lot of takedowns and he looked a bit even looked a bit hesitant on the feet. Granted, he did have a long layoff, but I think
Mm-hmm.
some of that has been him playing around. Like, oh, let me reach for this takedown and miss, and then maybe punch once we separate. Because in the third, he took him down so easily, and then from there it was, geez, it was bad. Like he just passed easily, he punched easily. It was very one sided once he got the takedown.
Yeah, I noticed. I knew you were going to say those takedowns right away too, because when I was watching it, I thought that too. I was like, were they set up takedowns to set up something like a takedown later on? Was he just gauging distance? Was he gauging what the reaction would be?
Yeah,
Because they didn't look like they were full on like John went for them. But the other thing I noticed was in the first fight when John got a clinch and tried to get a takedown, he couldn't get it, and I think that was because Gus is every bit as tall as him and can
hmm
utilize getting his hips away from him easier.
yeah,
But when Jones went for that low, like a low single or a low double, those are the ones that he was more successful at.
yeah,
And I feel like he was kind of setting him up that way, in that he went high and was kind of lazy at touching like his leg or his hip or something, but fully knew that he was going to get it when he went low, like when he really changed levels.
yeah. That's my guess too. To be honest, I think Jones is really he's really good at going off of his opponent's reactions. Like no one thinks of it's weird. No one thinks of Jones as like this super clean, technical, crisp guy, and maybe he isn't. But one thing he definitely is fuck. Like he figures guys out. Like he's got okay if he's gonna do if this is gonna be his reaction like consistently. Well, I'm gonna do this, and then he head kick KOs DC or he in this case, he takes down Gustafson real easy with a nice double. So
Yeah. No, I think you're right, actually. I think he is super technical in that. He's got plan A, B, and C for what he does for each move. I was reading an article today on, and Winklejohn was saying how much tape John watches, and he watches it even in slow motion. So when you think about that, you apply it with other sports too that you may know. That a lot of pro sports that they do that. That's because they are planning, reactions to every reaction that they get. So
Yeah, you have to.
um,
Yeah, there's no other choice because I don't. You can't go in there and just, oh, he's slipping the jab this way, and now it's all happening too fast. A lot of your counterattacks or your drawing the guy to attack so that you can counter and do something. A lot of that's got to be repped out in the gym, right? You don't have 50 to 100 tools, right? You've got maybe 10 really, really good ones. I'm just using random numbers here, but you get the point. Like
yeah,
you don't have an infinite amount of tools, right? Or resources. So what you have has to be fucking good, right? So I think that's
yeah,
where that filling out and like faking those takedowns where they look non-committal, they look lazy or unsuccessful, and then boom, round 3, it's like I got it.
yeah, yeah. And and for everything that John did do well, I really, when I was watching Gus fight, I didn't think he was sharp. I think even just in his physique, he looked like he hadn't spent as much time perhaps on his striking. Just, I felt like he looked a little heavier. And I wonder how much then was his camp based on wrestling or anti-wrestling. And because I just didn't see the same pop, I didn't see the same cardio, the things that really helped him in the first fight.
Yeah, it's true. You definitely, some of that probably has to do with the layoff too, for sure, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm looking forward to his next fight. Anyway, he's got Smith for his next one, and that'll be a good give us a good idea. Fingers crossed that it goes through, right? But
Yeah. Do you think Anthony Smith has any, like, I don't want to say any real chance, because of course every fighter who steps, especially at the UFC's level, they've all got a chance to win. They're all great fighters, like they're good fighters, but do you think that he can be the guy that actually beats John Jones?
my guess is no. But in fairness, stranger things have happened. But no, if I were going to put money on it, I mean, money is best spent on Jones, right?
Yeah. Although, again, talking about last weekend, the Cyborg fight, man, I never saw that coming.
Oh no.
No, man, I did. I knew Nunez was tough, and I knew she could hit hard. Um, but so is the case for a lot of women who've, you know, gone up against Cyborg. When you think about strikers, and you think of like Holly Holm, and she went all 5 rounds, but you could tell that she just, there was a drop off there. Did you see that?
I thought Nunez was going to win, but in fairness, it's not like I spent hours researching it, right? I only had two reasons for picking Nunez over Cyborg. Reason number one is I thought she's fought much better opposition than Cyborg in the last couple of years, and that's kind
Yeah.
of been the story of Cyborg's career, in my opinion, is fighting lower level opposition, with a few exceptions. Uh, you mentioned Holly Holm. One thing about Holly Holm is, as awesome as she is of a striker, she does the same couple things over and over, and she's extremely talented in there. So that's not it's a tough fight, but it's not a dangerous fight, right?
Mm.
As a Nunez, she's got lots of experience against tougher female fighters, and then she apparently hits like a truck, and we saw that again this time around. So that was kind of the reason I was favoring Nunez, those two things. So nothing deep, right? But
Okay.
a hell of a cross counter, though. Jesus Christ, not just floored her.
Wow. I mean that also, is it helps that Nunez is a little longer in the arms, and
Oh
she
yeah, for
really
sure.
she really had that great game plan. She saw how Cyborg comes straight down the pipe a lot. Figured she could come around. I mean, that was wonderful.
Yeah, no, that was cool to see because I mean they're both landing some nice heavy shots and boom, Nunes takes it. And she's beaten every tough, legit female fighter, or most of them anyway.
Yeah, yeah, she has. So, do you think then that Cyborg deserves a rematch for that?
I deserves a strong word, I guess, but I mean, I wouldn't be mad at her getting a rematch. I mean, who else could she fight? I mean, I'll be honest, I'd be happy if they just got rid of the 145 division and said, "Oh well, Nunes won. There's three of them fighting at 145. Let's just scrap the division, get rid of the title, have Nunes fight other 35ers." And I mean, it's not like there's nowhere else for them to go. They can go fight in Invicta, right? Like it's
That's
with
right.
just got rid of men's flyweight. Apparently, I mean, there's still a couple flyweight fights left, but if we're gonna start cutting divisions, let's start cleaning some more out.
Yeah, yeah, those are some diluted or some watered down divisions for sure.
Yeah, there's just it's very shallow divisions. Like even women's 125. I'm not opposed to any of these divisions or women fighting in the UFC. That's not what I'm trying to hint at. But if there's just not that many of them, why are we gonna entertain this, right? Give
Hmm. Yeah, you want to see a deep division with a lot of guys or a lot of people who are contending for titles that can put on exciting fights.
Yeah, and you want
And
quality athletes, right? Quality fighters.
mm-hmm.
If they're not there, they're not there. That's not a knock on the division or women or anything like that. It's just new. It
Yep,
takes time.
it's just fact. Yeah, I hear you, man. What do you think about Chad Mendez retiring? By the way.
I did not know that. When did this happen?
Oh yeah, he apparently retired after that fight on the weekend after he got the loss. And
Oh,
I'll just say I was stunned by it 'cause he's still a top five guy in the division. So I
oh
was
yeah, yeah. I'm sad to hear that. Volkanovski's legit, but I'm not shocked. I guess he's got a lot of other stuff going on. So maybe he's just like, you know what? I've got this. I think he's doing some kind of TV show, and he's got like some kind of hunting company. I don't know, but I know he's doing other things, and I guess he's made some money. And
hmm,
if he feels like he's done, I mean,
then
I'm
he's done.
really sad about Chad too. Is he had that 2 year suspension? He lost 2 years of his career for that, and he just took it on the chin. He didn't try to appeal. He didn't. He was like, all right, okay, I'll see you in 2 years.
Right.
So that's unfortunate because it, it's not like those were, I don't know. He didn't lose the age 23 and 24, which you don't want to lose 2 years of your career anywhere. But he
No,
lost a very rough spot. I think. What is he? He's in his early to mid 30s.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a
unfortunately.
good time. Yeah. Well, I know another event that sort of happened not too long ago was the Mayweather fight. Did you see any of that shenanigans or what?
I didn't watch the fight start to finish. No, and I did watch some of it. I watched some of the knockdowns and stuff. A lot of people are crying fix and all these things. I don't care enough to get into the debate. I guess it was an exhibition fight in Japan. Uh, was there pageantry involved? I'm sure there was, but I don't see the motive to fix the fight. Uh,
Right.
Not that Japan, the Japanese scene has ever needed a strong motive or strong argument to rig stuff. I mean, it's in the end for in that sense, right? So however they want to do it, they can
Yeah.
have an explanation. But the other thing too is like, uh, let's assume it wasn't rigged at all. it wouldn't shock me for Floyd to drop a guy who outweighs him or who's underweight. Like Floyd's got about 20 plus pounds on him, and
Yeah.
a lifetime of experience. Like Tenshin is legit, and from what I've read and like seen of some breakdowns and stuff, I don't really follow the Japanese or Asian kickboxing scene much, but he's legit from the tiny bit I've seen, and he's only 20. But if
Mhm.
or box someone like Floyd, I mean, to get dropped and to look embarrassed shouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, I know you're a busy guy. I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate you coming on the show and talking all sorts of stuff. If anybody wants to look you up, whether it be just for your MMA stuff or any of your personal training and that sort of thing that you do, where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me at Joey Morency on Facebook or Nation Strength on Facebook. Nationstrength.ca. It's just a landing page, very basic. I'm actually in the process of redoing the website, but it's nationstrength.ca, Nation Strength on Facebook and Instagram. And my personal Instagram for like fights and stuff is Juggernaut Money. And I guess I'll take this time to plug a couple other things. We've got a few things coming up soon, some announcements for Nation Strength, but also just myself and my training partners. Some big fights coming up, some returns to fighting for some guys at our gym, and it's going to be an interesting year. So stay tuned, and I think it'll be a good year for the local scene in general. I think it's going to be pretty exciting.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, we'll definitely get you back on the show and hopefully talk more about the local scene for sure.
Yeah, when I can drop some more news, it'll be fun because it looks like it's shaping up to be a good year. I'm excited.
Great, man. All right. Well, thanks a lot again for coming, and for everybody else, just to let you know, look up Joey on Facebook, and if you have any trouble finding him, just send me an email, and I can shoot you his information. Anyways, this has been All Five Rounds. I'm your host, Daren Loucks, with Joey Morency. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.